The First Omen. Released in 2024 is a prequel to the classic 1976 horror film The Omen. Directed by Akasha Stevenson, the film explores the sinister origins of Damien, the Antichrist, through the eyes of a young American novitiate living in Rome. Combining religious horror with psychological suspense, the film has been praised for its gothic atmosphere and unsettling imagery. Its IMDb rating is 6.6 out of 10. And on Rotten Tomatoes it stands on 78% critics and 65% audience. The film effectively lays the foundation for the original by revealing how dark forces within the church itself helped bring about the Antichrist's arrival. The opening act of the movie. Margaret Daino, a young American woman, is sent to Rome to begin her service as a nun under the church. She is idealistic, devout, and hopeful to make a difference. She begins working at a Catholic orphanage operated by the church. The children seem cheerful, but Margaret is quickly unsettled by eerie whispers, strange drawings, and violent outbursts among some of the orphans, particularly one little girl named Carlita. Carlita appears emotionally disturbed. She draws horrific, apocalyptic imagery, scenes of death, fire, and a child surrounded by serpents. Margaret befriends another young nun in training, Sister Luz, who shares her growing doubts about the behavior of the church officials running the orphanage. Margaret begins noticing ominous behavior from Cardinal Lawrence and Father Brennan, high-ranking officials who seem obsessed with prophecy and ritual. Margaret experiences visions of bloody rituals and a horned shadowy figure watching her in mirrors or dreams. Carlita claims she's chosen and says they will make her something terrible. The first act ends with a disturbing incident. Carlita attempts suicide during a blackout and whispers, "They'll make me the mother." In the second act, Margaret dives into ancient texts and records at the Vatican archives. She discovers references to a secret faction within the church that seeks to create the Antichrist, not prevent his arrival. She uncovers terrifying rituals involving the artificial conception of evil, not through Satan himself, but through manipulation of birth, trauma, and suffering. Margaret realizes Carlita isn't the Antichrist, she's meant to be the mother of him. The church's secret sect believes if they create enough pain and horror, they can force a womb for evil to be born into. Father Brennan, once an ally, turns against her when she threatens to expose the operation. Sister Luz is found murdered after confronting the priests, possibly used in a ritual. The church plans to impregnate Carlita through artificial means in a dark mockery of the virgin birth. Margaret is drugged and imprisoned by the church's secret faction. They believe she is a more fitting vessel than Carlita after all, due to her purity and faith, both of which they want to corrupt. In the final of the movie, Margaret is tortured and subjected to a horrific ritual intended to implant the seed of evil in her. During these rituals, she experiences disturbing hallucinations of the future, glimpses of Damien, war, and death. In a horrifying sequence, Margaret wakes up post-ritual, realizing they've succeeded. She has been impregnated. Despite the trauma, Margaret fights back. She escapes the underground Vatican catacombs, killing several priests in her path. She attempts to reach the outside world, but the church controls the narrative. She is branded unstable and her claims are buried. The film ends months later with Margaret in a secluded psychiatric institution. A nurse checks in on her and finds her cradling a child with pitch-black eyes. As the camera pans out, we hear whispers and chants. The final line spoken by Margaret: "He's already chosen the world, and it will follow him willingly." My final thoughts is that The First Omen is a dark, chilling prequel that builds dread through religious horror and psychological manipulation. It enriches the mythology of the original Omen series by showing that the birth of Damien wasn't an accident. It was orchestrated, not just by hell, but by man's own ambitions cloaked in holy robes. It's a film that asks unsettling questions about belief, authority, and the real cost of prophecy.